Welcome back to another video here at DFD Mastery. I'm extremely excited to have our guest on today. We have Berney in the house, and I'm very excited to have him. So I hope you guys get a ton of value from this. Greg is now an experienced investor. He's got rental properties. He's wholesaling. So I'm really excited to hear his story, where he came from, and how you guys can take some of these gold nuggets and get started and be successful yourselves. So let's dive into this. I hope you guys enjoy.
Hi, my name is Zack Boothe, and I help people just like you consistently find massively discounted properties all across the country so you can fix and flip, buy and hold, or wholesale real estate. If you need help, I have a ton of free resources, including an absolutely free wholesaling course. Click on the link in the show notes to get access to those free resources, or you can go to dfdmastery.com, click on free resources, and get access to all the free content.
All right. Well, welcome. I'm excited to have you. So would you share with us, where do you live? Where are you in the world, and where are you investing?
Yeah, for sure. Zach, thanks for having me, man. I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina, and got started investing about 3 years ago, almost coming up on 3 years.
Love it. And so what were you doing? What were you doing before that?
So I was actually in healthcare. I am a social worker by background, had gotten into healthcare. And, as I tell people now, I was on a corporate ladder that once I got about halfway up, I realized this isn't the ladder I want to be on. And so was, wasn't fitting the lifestyle I wanted. I've got 3 young kids at home and wanted to spend Saturdays and Sundays with them. And just the higher I went up, the less likely that seemed. And I was hitting a point where I knew I wanted to start to look for something else.
Love it. So healthcare, social worker. Why real estate though? Because there's lots of ways to make money and have financial freedom and time freedom and everything that you wanted. So why real estate?
Yeah. So real estate, I guess, had always been an itch that I was interested in scratching. I probably for, the previous 5 years before that, I was, kind of analysis paralysis, researching rental properties. Didn't have the money to invest in rental properties, but I was like, I know that's something I want to do someday. And then actually, a really easy opportunity came along. We moved into a neighborhood, and a guy that I became pretty friendly with owned a very small apartment complex and had done a few flips. And so we were having lunch one day, and I said, I'm kind of thinking about doing something different. And he said, it was a really kind of low risk proposition. Let's flip a house together. I'll show you what to do. You bring a little bit of money to the table, but it really kind of low risk proposition. So we did that.
You bring a little money to the table. What was the situation? Were you putting like just some of the upfront money to get the hard money? Were you financing the flip or just the rehab costs? What were you doing?
So basically he financed purchase and half of the rehab. And I purchased, I financed the other half of the rehab, and then we swung hammers together.
How did you find a deal? Where did it come from?
So I'm glad you asked. I found it from a guy that became a good friend who wholesaled it to us.
Okay. A wholesaler brought it to you. Okay.
A wholesaler brought it to me. I joined the local RIA.
Okay.
Again,
so let's help listeners. This is some lingo, right? So maybe someone doesn't know anything about real estate. So RIA is a Real Estate Investors Association meeting where all these either wannabes or actually successful real estate investors get together and network so they can have situations like this. And so you found the deal from a wholesaler. So a wholesaler is someone like me who goes out and finds discounted properties that are not listed by agents, right? They go out and find these discounted properties and sell them to investors, just like, your friend and you, and you paid him a fee for finding that deal. That wholesaler never had to buy the house. He just found a deal and assigned the purchase contract to you guys to be able to close on it. So just want that lingo to be clarified. So you end up with this deal. Then what happened?
We flip the house. We sell it. We split. We did okay, especially for a first flip. I think we split maybe 16 or 18,000.
Oh, nice. Good for you.
I went back to Mark, the buddy who we kind of through the process became friends. Mark was the wholesaler.
And you still have a
And
full-time job at this point, right?
I still have a full-time job, and I go to Mark. And again, Zach, I had no idea what I was doing at this point, other than I knew here's something to get me into real estate and I'll learn. So
I
go to
love
Mark,
that I love that was your attitude. This foot in the door. I'm learning as I'm going, right?
Man, that's gotta be your attitude at the beginning. I know
But
a lot of people
spent
in real
years
estate.
just thinking about it, right?
Right.
So you felt like this
Right.
was a good move to just go for it, even if you could have lost some money.
Exactly. Yeah. And I had spent some time in those RIA meetings before this, and I'd gotten to know this wholesaler. So I knew it was somebody who he seemed like a stand-up guy. He was really kind of upfront throughout the whole process. But long story short, he made more money on the deal than I did, and he spent a lot less time on it.
And frustration and risk and all that,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. And so from there, I was like, all right, time for me to take you to lunch again and learn a little bit more about this, because I did fine. I enjoyed it. I learned, I'm not the handiest guy in the world. I'm not going to be a house flipper when I grow up.
Right.
But let me learn a little more about this wholesaling piece. So I started doing that on the side. And Zach, at the beginning, it was, I think probably like a lot of wholesalers, just throwing spaghetti at the wall. I'd heard about something called driving for dollars. So I, went out with like a pad and paper and like, that house looks like it needs work. And I no idea what I was doing. But slowly started getting some deals on the side. And it grew to the point where I was getting ready to think about, maybe I can make a go of this full time. And then actually my position got eliminated in the healthcare role.
Now I have no choice.
Exactly. So, man, I think
what a blessing, huh? Isn't it funny how like sometimes the biggest blessings are the biggest problems we have?
I tell people I was like standing on the edge of this cliff. I had my pack on and I was so excited to jump, but I was like really scared. And then it was like, yep, life just gives you the little push that you need sometimes.
Kick in the butt, right?
Absolutely.
That's scary. Okay, so you've done a couple. So let's talk about getting that point of being fired. You said you've been doing some deals. So you've been wholesaling deals, right? So you found some off-market people, some driving for dollars, maybe some other ways. So I assume you had some money. Like how many months did you have till you start living off credit cards and getting pre-foreclosure notices in the mail?
Gosh, at that point, I mean, we had some money in the bank, and luckily with my work, I actually had a bit of a runway with some severance. So I think we weren't
so what
right
a blessing.
At that door.
It's like here's some money and some time. Go be successful. What an awesome situation.
So here's a lesson about being intentional about what you ask for. I had before that all occurred, not long before, maybe a week or two, I said to my wife, gosh, I'm done with this job. I'm ready to do this wholesaling thing full time. If somebody just told me your salary is guaranteed for 6 months, I would do this. And then like a week or two later, I get a call into the boss's office. So, your job's gone, but here's 6 months of salary.
No way. A severance of 6 months. What a blessing. I hope that you prayed to the big man and said thank you, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Prayed to the big man and said thank you. And then I joke now, it's like, I should have said, if only I had a year of
give me a year of salary. But the funny thing is a lot of times what happens is we take advantage of opportunities or we take as much time as we have to be successful, right?
Yep. Man, that is a lesson I've learned. Absolutely.
Right. So tell us about that. So you've got some money to take care of your family. I assume you have a little money set aside for marketing. Then what happened? What happened in your journey?
So those first few months were, like finding any possible way to find a deal and doing it all haphazardly. So I think that's one of the things I want to make sure we talk about is systematizing things. And I've had to shoot myself in the foot a few times to learn that. But at the beginning, it was, again, go drive, write down 50 addresses, take forever looking them up on the county website to find, the owner of the property, and then handwriting cards to the owners, and doing it that way. And over time, I learned, as I got a win here or there, as I wholesaled a deal and made 3 or 4 or 5 grand here or there, it was okay. Now I can find a mail house and send out those mailers, because I'm going to send out a lot more. And this is a numbers game. But those, I'd say the first 6 to 9 months were definitely. I was never on like banging on the door of poverty, but it was definitely like, man, if I don't get a deal here in the next couple of weeks, like I'm gonna have to really start thinking about what's next, because this
maybe
isn't
I have to go
working.
get a job, right?
Right, exactly.
So tell me where you are now with your business. I mean, are you making really good money? You're not looking back. You're not looking at having to get another job. Tell me where you're at now.
Yeah. So I hope it's okay if I like share numbers, because I actually find it really helpful when people get really honest with me about numbers, because it helps me learn.
Yeah, for sure. And it's the authentic truth, right? A lot of people are like, oh, I made $1 million. It's like, well, how much did you keep? Like, what does that even mean? Right.
Yeah. So, the job that evaporated, I was making around 100,000.
Cool.
And so in kind of year one, which was, there was a portion of that which was part-time. So I don't know that it's a real fair comparison, but anyway, in the first year of investing, I made 50 grand. In year number 2, I doubled that to 100 grand. And this is in year 3, and I'm on pace to actually probably do a little bit better than doubling it again. So so it's I'm not
so you're
at a point where I'm worried about what's going to happen next month at this point.
Right. So you're third year, you're looking at making about $200,000. What was the big difference? What got you from, where you were last year to where you are now, right? To where you're going to do $200,000. What was the big change?
Systems, for sure. So again, if you had asked me, and this is something I'm still working on, but if you'd asked me in the first year, how much have you spent on this marketing channel? How many calls have you made? How many postcards have you sent? Or even how much have you made in the last quarter? I would have had absolutely no idea. And I'm really
so when you say systems, you mean tracking how much you're spending versus how much you're making in relation to what your marketing is, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know we'll talk more about driving for dollars, but going from if I happen to get a free 20 minutes, or I went on appointment, so I'll go a half hour early and drive this neighborhood and write down a few properties. It's, and your course has been instrumental in this, Zack, is Deal Machine app. I don't really ever drive because I have a driver working for me. And I know, exactly how many postcards are going to go out and when they're going to go out and when those calls are going to start coming in. And I have a way of tracking, is that working? So I think from that system standpoint, that's allowed me again to be able to quickly understand, where do I need to be spending more or less attention, more or less money, more or less time.
Do you know roughly how much of that $200,000 or so is going to be from driving for dollars?
I can look up right now.
Love it. You got your numbers. So my students get a KPI sheet template, what we use for tracking all this info, so you can have educated decisions.
Zack, this is super embarrassing. I've been having Wi-Fi issues in my office, so I can't look it up. I'm going to
just give us some rough numbers.
Yeah,
that's okay.
I joined the Driving for Dollars course only 3 or 4 months ago. And I would say on path to have it be certainly 50%, probably more. Yeah.
Love it. So Driving for Dollars works, right? We use the Deal Machine app. If you guys want to go get started, you can download that Deal Machine app, use the discount code PIN, which will give you guys access to 2 months free of the route tracking software, which is essential to, stay on track and to have a driver. I mean, it's 100% essential, right? So let me ask you this question, right? You're doing well. You're building this business. You're becoming more and more profitable. I know you're talking about picking up rentals. I mean, you're crushing it, right? You're living the dream that so many people have when they first start, right?
Sure.
Going from not knowing much to now you're sourcing deals, finding deals, able to keep some for yourself as rentals, and you're able to assign some for profits, and you're making, over six figures. You're making literally 5 times the average American income. 5 times, which is incredible, right? And you're still able to spend time with your family. You're able to have all these things. So let me ask this question. If you lost it all today, right, what are the 3 steps you would take immediately to get back to where you are? So someone that has no resources, they know what to get started with. What are the 3 things you would do?
The 3 things. So the first thing I would do is focus on mindset and really work on myself and mindset. So, and what I mean by that is, this business and any business, you've got to adopt an attitude of, win or learn. So I mean, I can count off probably 10 things this week that I, screwed up, failed at. I totally bungled a conversation the other day with a seller and lost probably a $15,000 assignment out of it. And what I've adopted doing, and this would be step 1, is I got, it was right at the end of the day, I got in the car and I set a 5-minute timer on my phone. And that was my 5 minutes to feel bad for myself and beat myself up and kick myself. And then I got home and I told my wife, I need 10 minutes. And I went to the journal and wrote down, what did I learn from this? How do I make sure this never happens again? And thank you for this learning. Right. So I think first thing is focus on mindset. Second thing is take imperfect action. So and that's kind of what I did at the beginning and that was really hard for me, man, because I am I have a tendency to, okay, let me figure out how to make this perfect before I take the leap. So I think take imperfect action, whether it's, again, find some houses that look like crap, find out who owns them and write them a note in the mail. Is that as systematized as a Driving for Dollars app and a driver doing it and all that? No, but it's taking action. It's going to move you towards that next step.
Awesome.
And then the third would be, I think, pick one thing and stay in your lane. So we talked a little bit before we started recording about the rentals, and that's where I've gotten myself into some trouble at times. Is I tried to do too many things at once, or it was like, okay, that's set up. Now I'm going to go over here and do this. And, I think just pick one thing, track it meticulously so you know how it's performing, and then you get to move on to the next thing. But I think that's
so you mean just either pick wholesaling or just pick rentals or just pick flipping? Is that what you mean?
Yes. And if you're, whether you're flipping, whether you're wholesaling, whether you're buying rentals, if you're marketing for off-market properties, pick Driving for Dollars, pick an absentee owner list, pick a list, pick a marketing channel. Because there was a time at which I was mailing poorly. I was cold calling poorly. I was text blasting poorly because none of them had focus. Right. I think pick one thing at a time and stick to it until you're seeing results and then expand from there. Go slow to go fast. Right.
Right. What I would highly suggest too, I love your tips, love them. Right. First, getting your mindset right, believing that you can do it, going for it and being okay with not knowing everything, not being perfect at everything, that when there's a mistake, it's a learning opportunity. Right. And I would also add, continue to invest in yourself and in your mind with books and education and get a good mentor, right? Because that's really going to help you get your mindset in the right place. And then your second one was take imperfect action, which I love, which is get started immediately. My wife's wanting to start a YouTube channel, and we have been arguing
Awesome.
like we're married for 10 years,
I understand.
about taking imperfect action, because she wants to know everything, and researching and courses and spending all this time, and she hasn't even uploaded a video yet. She hasn't even filmed a video yet. And it's like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why do you not have 3 videos yet? You know,
Yeah.
like I don't
Yeah.
like upload 10 this week and then learn, you know? So I really
Amen.
believe that a lot of success is imperfect action, taking action, right? Just like you did. It's not always a straight path. And if we try and understand A through Z and how we're going to hit $1 million a year and understand the whole process and who's going to be a part of it, dude, you will never get there because you'll be caught up in the fear of the unknown because there's so much unknown,
Mm-hmm.
right? But that's the beauty of the journey.
It has taken me a while to really get it into my head that you don't get a whole lot of learning from success.
Yep.
But boy, do you get a whole lot of learning from when you put up a video and it stunk and the audio was messed up, and you learn, right? And I think that's been kind of the biggest gold nugget throughout all of this.
I think it's the number one hinderment that our traditional education system teaches is it's not okay to fail. It's not okay to not know the answer. It's not okay to make mistakes. And then it's not okay to lean on other people around you. Right. Because that's called cheating. And it's like, well, there's a reason I'm good at business because I was really good at cheating at tests. Right.
Yeah. There you go.
Like I got really good. Like in my Spanish class, I would be like, answer to number 1 is this, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what's the answer to 4? And I'd yell it out, you know, and I got the whole class yelling out answers. And my teacher sent me down to the principal's office. Right. Yeah. But I learned that that's how I got through school, really. And that was a bad thing in school. And I don't suggest this to people listening to this, you cheat, but, but working together and working off other people's strengths is okay. So the third thing that you said, if you had to start it all over again, was to pick one marketing channel or basically one strategy. And more importantly is one marketing channel, right? Because regardless if you want to do flips, wholesaling, buy and hold investing, whatever you want to do, you first have to find the deal, right? So first pick a marketing strategy to find those. And I will say driving for dollars is the best list. It's the best option, especially if you're just starting. With that being said, I talk about why, and I talk about how you guys can get started. That I have a webinar. It's in the show notes always. It's dfdmastery.com. You guys can check it out as well. But driving for dollars is really what has made me and so many of my students super successful because we have a marketing channel. We have leads coming in that we can build a business around, right? And, Greg has talked about how the driving for dollar system that I teach has been able to organize and systemize what he's doing and take him to that next level, right? So it's been a huge blessing for me and so many others. So if you guys have any interest in doing driving for dollars, make sure you check out that free webinar. Any last final advice to someone that's just getting started, maybe a book or other places they could get started?
Boy, I don't know. There's a bunch of books. Gosh, I think, we talked about personal development. I am right now, I just started, I'm going to screw up the title. You can't teach a kid how to ride a bike at a seminar, which is just all about, it's the Sandler sales system.
Love it.
I don't recommend it for the sales piece, but just more about that concept of you just got to take action, and you just got to jump in. And then from the mentorship piece, I'm going to butter your bread, Zach. I'm sorry, but it's
here
like
it comes, guys. I'm not paying him to say this, by the way.
He's not paying me to say this, although I'm hoping he might afterwards. No, the value of a mentor, the value of a class, the Driving for Dollars course, again, I was doing Driving for Dollars, just not real, sort of haphazardly. And it is you saying, hey, like, here are the test answers. Here it is. Just go do this. You don't have to think about it. Just go do this. And at this point, I did pull up because I figured you would ask me, so actually all I'm doing right now is mailing. That's the only channel I have right now.
Postcards to different lists, like Driving for Dollars.
Yeah. And so for the Driving for Dollars list, last month I sent out, I'm like between 5,000 and 6,000 mail pieces per month. That awesome. Along with the driver cost me, last month it was $32.86. So $3,000. And I've closed one $10,000 deal and two more that'll total probably another 12. So let's call that 22. So
Yeah.
so find me a machine where I can stick $3,000 in and get $22,000 out, and I'll do that all day long.
Imagine going to Vegas, you put $3,000 in, 22,000 comes out. I mean, you're going to get up and go to a different machine. You're going to keep putting money in and having it spit it out. I love it.
And having that system again, is that like, that's where the driver going, he's around 15 hours a week. So with that, I'm like, I'm just going to take that money. Okay, let's go to 30, 40 hours a week. Let's find a second driver. Cause the proof is right there. Right.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you for being on here and sharing your story and helping inspire other people to take action and don't overthink the process, right? Thank you for the advice and congratulations on your success. I know how wonderful it feels, and thank you for letting me be a small part in your journey and your success. My hat's off to you because, yes, I have given you some tools, but truly you are the hero of this story because you took action. Right? You didn't just analyze, but you took action, you took the risks, you believed in yourself enough to go for it. So I have a ton of respect for people just like yourself. So truly my hat's off to you. Congratulations. And I'm excited to be a part of your journey moving forward and continue seeing you excel and grow your business. So good stuff. And
Zack,
we'll catch you soon.
Yeah. I appreciate you having me. Thanks, man.